Today I'm going to teach you how to fill out your travel voucher. The travel voucher you're going to need to fill out every time you teach as an associate instructor for TSI. There are really three ways that you can fill this voucher out. Number one, you can get a paper copy of it and fill it out by hand and send it in. Number two, you can get a Word version of it, fill it out electronically, and send it in. Number three, and the easiest way, which is the way I'm going to show you, that's using this PDF file with fillable fields, filling it out quickly and easily, and sending it in. Remember, when you send your voucher in to TSI, you can't send it in electronically. You need to send a physical copy with your receipts and with a signature. So let's go ahead and get started. In block number one, you're going to type or write, I'll say type for the rest of the exercise, you're going to type DOT/TSI/RTI-80. Move over to block 2 and make an X here where it says temporary duty. You can leave block 3 and 4 alone. Then we move to block 5, which is the name, last name first name, then middle initial, social security number, address, your office telephone, your duty station, which is the city you work in, and your residence, city and state. Then we move over to period of travel. These are going to be the dates you're teaching class. In this example, Richard Short is going to be teaching a class for TSI from December 4th to December 9th, 2011. He's going to be traveling from Oklahoma City to Los Angeles, California. December 4th, 2011 to December 9th, 2011. Then we move down to block number 7. Here you're going to put your travel authorization number. Travel authorization number can be found in your travel order. It will always be RTI 080, and then after that it will change depending on the year and depending on the travel authorization. In this case it's 2012, so it'll be RTI 08012, T as in Tango, D as in Delta, and then a 4-digit number after that. That will be your particular travel order number that will only be used once and just for you. Next time you travel, you'll have a different travel order number. This date here in block number 7 is the date you fill out your travel voucher. You don't need to do anything in block number 8 or 9 or 10 or 11. Here in block number 12, we'll start at the top. You put your initials here. By putting your initials here, you're just agreeing that if the airline, let's say, cancels your flight and refunds the money, they're going to refund it to TSI, not to you, because it is the federal government's travel money. Next, you're going to put the agent's valuation of ticket, and that is going to be put right here, and that valuation of ticket you'll be able to find in your final itinerary that comes from TSI Travel. You may get an earlier itinerary that just has your flight times. The one that you'll need with information on it, and the one that you'll need to send in as part of your voucher as a receipt, is the final invoice you get, which has the prices on it. So you put the valuation of the ticket, which is the cost of the ticket and the tax, the issuing carrier, here it's AA or American Airlines. If it was United, you'd put UA or SW for Southwest, just something that so that we at TSI can figure out what airline you flew. This will always be economy, the date it was issued. You'll find this in the final itinerary you get. Here you're going to put where you're leaving from, in this case Oklahoma City, to, this is where you're going to be teaching class, Los Angeles, California. Go down to the next line and put right here, and return. You go down another line, and here you're going to put SATO fee. SATO is the contractor that does all of our travel for us, and the SATO fee is always $28.50, and you'll put that right there. There are some other things on this first page that we'll look at later at the very end because we can't put it in now. Now we'll move on to the second page. The second page is where all the meat and potatoes of the information you're going to be putting in for your travel voucher. We start here at the top right hand corner, and you'll put in that this is page 2 of 2. You're never really probably going to use more than 2 pages. You're going to carry down your travel authorization number that was in block number 7A of the first page. You'll put your name here. This is in case the page 1 and page 2 ever get separated. It makes it easy to for travel to recombine them. Over here you're going to put the year that you traveled, and here you'll put the day that you traveled. A lot of times on the day that you travel to and from class, you might use more than one line per day. Other days when you're actually at class, most likely, most of the time, you'll just use one line per day. And again, here on days you're going home, you may have 2, 3, or even 4 lines that you use for the day you go home. For time, you don't need to use this on days when you're actually on duty teaching for TSI, but on days you're traveling, you might fill this in with some important times like when you leave for home, when you get in your cab, when you leave for the airport, and when you get back home. Here in description, you're just going to put a description of what you're actually doing at that time. In this case, for this block, Mr. Short is departing his residence via a personally owned vehicle to the Oklahoma City airport for a flight to LAX. It's also nice in this box, or nice and important in this box, if you put in any monetary amounts for other expenses like cab fare, gas for a rental vehicle, hotel tax, your phone call. A note on hotel tax. It's going to be really important that you separate your hotel tax that you're paying every night from the lodging amount. The lodging goes in one place, hotel tax goes in another. We'll talk about that later. Also remember, you are allowed a $5 phone call per day. You don't need to turn in a receipt, and you can put that on your voucher as Mr. Short has right here in this block. A phone call for $5 and the hotel tax for $10.80. So you'll notice most of the time anything different that happens will be the day you fly in and the day you fly out. The day that you're there, it'll pretty much just be hotel tax and phone call. If we look down here into this block, depart class via a taxi to Los Angeles International Airport for a flight to Oklahoma City. For each of these blocks, you only get 2 lines of typing per block, and there are only a certain number of characters you can put in, so you may need to abbreviate once in a while. What's really important to do is, if you have multiple other expenses, let us know what each of those expenses are. So here, instead of just putting $10.80, you're breaking down so that we know the phone calls were $5, the hotel tax was $10.80. That really helps us. Here's airport parking in Oklahoma City from the 4th to the 9th. For $60. When you fill your voucher out, some people will take one line and go across and fill in their lodging, their total subsistence expenses, any mileage, and then carry that across and do that per day. Other people will go down each column, fill that one in, and then go to the next column, fill that one in when the trip is over. Either method is fine as long as you get the numbers right. So let's take a look at the numbers. You don't need to put anything in this column for meals. Don't put anything under breakfast, lunch, dinner, or total. You don't need to put anything under miscellaneous subsistence. You are going to need to put something under lodging. That's where your hotel rate goes. Remember, it's just the hotel rate, not the hotel plus tax, just the hotel. We're going to assume for this city that the hotel rate is $200 a night, just for example. So we're going to assume the rate is $200, and you're going to have one of those for every night you're staying in the hotel. Remember, the last day of travel, in this case the 9th, you're not going to be in a hotel, so you leave that blank. Under total subsistence, this is where you're going to put what we call M&IE, or meals and incidental expenses. It'll be different for virtually every city you're in. There are about 7 different M&IEs. You'll need to look on your travel orders to find out what the official M&IE is for your city. On days that you travel, you get 75% of your M&IE, and on days when you're on duty and not traveling, you get 100%. As an example, we're going to take $100 as the M&IE for this city. On the first day, which is the 4th, 75% of $100 would be $75. All the other days where we're on duty and not traveling, it's going to be 100% of $100, which would be $100. And remember, the last day you travel, you again get 75% of that $100 M&IE. Now we'll move on to mileage rate. Up here you put in the mileage rate that is currently accurate. As of this time, it's 51 cents a mile. So I'll type in 0.51. Then you're going to type in the number of miles that you drove to park at the airport. We'll say 15. Notice that it populates the amount of money for the mileage over here, and it subtotals and totals it down at the bottom of the mileage column. We didn't drive a personally owned vehicle at all when we were at class, but on the last day when we flew home, we departed Oklahoma City Airport via a POV to our residence. We drove the 15 miles back home and add that in. If you have a spouse or partner drop you off at the airport, you're entitled to double the mileage to the airport. The thought being you're saving the taxpayers money by not paying to park at the airport. We will reimburse for the amount of miles it takes to drive you to the airport and then drive back to your residence. Now we're filling out the amount claimed area, and you notice there are 3 columns to fill out. Mileage has already been populated automatically with the 2 POV mileages. Next we'll fill in subsistence. All you do for subsistence is carry across the amount of lodging and M&IE for each day, add them together, put it here. It's that simple. So $200 for the hotel plus 75% of $100 would be $275 for the first day. Then every day after that we're on duty and not traveling, it's going to be the $200 for the hotel and $100 for per diem. On the last day, of course, we're not going to have a hotel, so all we'll need to do is carry across that $75 for M&IE and add that. Notice that it's totaling up our amount here, and all we have is the last final other column. The other column is for all other expenses not covered under M&IE or mileage. Therefore, this is when we look over to these blocks and carry our cab fare, our hotel tax, our phone calls, our rental cars, our gasoline for our rental cars, anything like that would go in other. So for this block right here, we're going to add the cab fare to the hotel and the hotel tax, $20 plus $10.80 for a total of $30.80. For this line, we're going to add our phone call of $5 and our hotel tax of $10.80. Generally, when you're traveling, every day that you're not traveling, these will be the same. On a day that we are traveling, we see some different numbers. Here we've got the $20 cab fare. Remember, you would want to add your tip in, so you total the total of the taxi ride plus the tip, in this case $20. Federal government will pay appropriate tips for transportation. Here is our airport parking, $60, and that's it. Notice down here that the total amount claimed has been totaled for us. Now we need to go back to the first page, and we're going to type that number in under amount claimed. Then all that's left to do is the date that we're filling out our travel voucher, and then a signature. Remember, don't try to electronically sign it. We need a real honest-to-goodness signature from you. We need the signature to be in pen, and you need to send the original to us plus the originals of the receipts. Remember, the receipts that we need are anything at all over $75, rental car if you have one, fuel for the rental car, your hotel, your airfare with the amount charged to the government on it. There's no need to give us any meal expenses. Send that into TSI, put it in the mail. You need to have it done within 5 business days of coming back from a trip, and we'll get your reimbursement to you just as quickly as possible. It will be deposited into your account. If you have any questions on how to fill out your travel voucher, call one of the program assistants, either Ricky, Jamie, or Ron, and it's easiest to get in touch with them by calling the division line at 405-954-3682.